won't be able to. This is all new to me. Let's see. All right, I
I
threw the
know we're
timer
learning
up.
here.
I'm gonna let that count down. I'm gonna see what it looks like. I got my iPad set up so I can see what we look like on YouTube here.
That's what I was gonna do too.
Oh, I just did. We're actually. Oh,
Are we
it
on
showed
there?
just a splash of us talking, and then the timer went up. So the timer's going on now. Funny.
Turn it down.
Well, we got two people. Maybe that's you and me.
Maybe it might.
We might be
Whatever
talking
it
to ourselves.
takes. Hey, that's all right. It'll be out there
All
for
right,
people to watch.
it's like on a 4-second delay from where we are, so it should
Looks like
start popping.
16 right now.
Maybe yours is different.
Yeah, I got
There, just
16
popped
eyes.
on. Don't look at your screen because it is delayed. It'll throw you. Oh, we got 16 people on here.
Yeah.
Let me throw the comments up so I can see what's going on. Are you seeing comments?
Yeah, nothing yet, I don't think.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're going to get started here in just a second. Give everybody a chance to join on. If you don't mind, if you're on watching, if you wouldn't mind leaving a comment real quick, just so we can make sure that we're both able to see the comments. That'll be important later as we get into this because we want you to ask us questions. Lyndon, why don't you throw a comment out there and see if.
All right. Let's see if they're working. Oh, there's Ben.
Hey, Ben.
Hello, Ben.
All right, we're seeing the comments. Is that Ben from Iola? A few more. All right, thank you,
And
folks.
Jacob. That's
All right, we
cool.
got 19 people on. All right. Well, hey, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to introduce myself, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about Linden here. So I'm Jeff Carroll, and I am the owner of Ottawa Bike and Trail. If you're watching this channel, you probably knew that already. But you may not know if you're one of our YouTube subscribers and not as familiar with the shop. You may not know that our shop is at the intersection of the Flint Hills Trail and the Prairie Spirit Trail state parks. So that's the reason we're in Ottawa, just to take advantage of the two state park trails that are a big part of our business. And I wanted to put this call together to talk about some of the most frequently asked questions about the Flint Hills Trail, because we get a lot of calls. We get a lot of people, trying to get information about the trails, and we get a lot of questions. And so I wanted to come on today and bring on my friend Lyndon, who is also a YouTuber. He has a channel called Linden Moore, right? Did I get that right? YouTube
Yeah.
channel.
Yep.
Definitely. I'll put it in the link of for this video afterwards. So if you're interested, please go out and check out his YouTube channel. He does some really cool videos, and he's also a really cool guy. And we love it getting together talking about bikes. So I thought it'd be great to bring Lyndon on and have him help me answer these questions. And so we're going to go through it. So Lyndon, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell everybody what you do when you're not riding bikes, and then we'll talk a little bit about your YouTube channel.
Okay. My name's Linden Moore. I teach science to kindergarten through fifth grade students in Wichita, Kansas. And and helping my wife get through school and helping my adult children go to college now. They still live here. And then I have a 15-year-old too in high school, junior.
Yeah.
Or 16, sorry. He's
Oh,
going to
you
kill
better.
me.
Yeah. If he's watching.
Soon to be 17.
Yeah. But I just learned that you are one of the few science specific teachers in the Wichita School District. So you are the science guy, and you get to do a
Yeah.
lot of cool science things. That's a really cool job. You're doing
Yeah,
a great
I have a
job
really cool
teaching
job.
kids.
Thanks. Yeah. I brought cycling to the school too.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
through my
Yeah.
videos, yeah. I have kids riding to school now, and I've hooked up some kids with our local organization, Bike Walk Wichita,
Yeah.
and they've given them some free bikes. So yeah, it's been really cool. Yeah.
That's really, really cool. Well, tell people a little bit about your background in cycling and how you got into it. Just, I mean, just kind of give your a short summary of why bikes are so important to you.
I'll try to be quick here. I'm long winded here, but um, we after COVID, I had been sitting around a lot. I was working remote as a teacher online, and I had gained a ton of weight, and I was just so out of shape. I didn't even realize it from staying in the house so much and
Hmm.
working and sitting. I went on a walk one day and realized like I could barely walk a mile without pain. And so I decided I better do something about that. And I started walking and saving because I've always wanted to get a bike. And so I started walking, saving, losing weight. And I did a thing called a healthy wage. I used healthy wage, a diet bet website. And I bet money so much a month that I would lose so many pounds. And I lost like 90 pounds and it made enough money for me to buy my bike, and I came out to you guys because at the time you guys were the only people with bikes. I mean, it was 2020, right
Yeah.
after COVID. So I came out to you and bought my bridge club, and that's how it all started. So I ride bikes now to maintain a better weight. I was up at like 330 pounds. Now I maintain a weight about 100 pounds less than that most of the time. I'm a little heavier than that right now. But I also do it now for mental health too. I love riding. I mean, especially in places like the Flint Hills where you're out there and it's just beautiful and there's nothing like it.
Yeah, I think it was shortly after you bought that, and I remember you coming down. We had a good time even then, and
Yeah.
showing you the bike, and you were so excited about it. And then it was shortly after that you did Moonrise Bike Ride, right, with your brother and your dad. Was
Yep.
that right after you got the?
2022.
Was that one of
That
your
was,
first big bike packing events?
it was my first group event bike packing. Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah. After I got my bike, the first time I'd ever ridden the Flint Hills Trail was my first. I do week long adventures every summer now that I have summers off. And I started in Council Grove, and it was the first time I'd ever ridden the trail. And I rode all the way across into to Osawatomie. Then I rode to the Rock Island spur of the Katy Trail, and I rode that down to the Katy. And it was flooding. It was insane. It was an awesome adventure. It hooked me forever. I had to do some long nights and crawling through mud and thing. You know, it hooked me.
And that was a
And I haven't.
solo. That was a
Yeah,
solo. Yeah.
solo. Yeah, my
Yeah.
first big thing. I did an overnighter before that, but that was it. And I did the week long trip, made it to my mom's a day ahead of time,
Yeah.
and then yeah, and then next year did the Flint Hills Trail. Yeah, I've been hooked ever since. Almost all of my adventures now include the Flint Hills Trail in some way.
Yeah. Yeah. And you did a really cool video with your dad. Talk a little bit about that because that was impressive.
Yeah, Dad. We did the Katy the year before, and we wanted to. I wanted to show my dad the Flint Hills Trail, the whole thing, um, at our own pace. We'd ridden to Ottawa before, but never all the way through. And sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Oh, you were just
What
talking
was
about
the
your dad.
question,
The
Jeff?
most impressive thing on that, or interesting
Oh
thing, at
yeah,
least to
the
me, was
Flint
he did
Hills
an
Trail.
e-bike. Yeah, he did it. He
Yeah,
rode an e-bike, and you rode your
so
bike,
he
right? So,
yeah, and that's what's cool about the Flint Hills Trail now. You can ride it however you want to ride it. It's kind of getting to be like the Katy, where if you want to camp every night, you can. So my dad and I, we Airbnb'd and did motels that time because he's kind of over the whole camping thing. So he rode an e-bike, and yeah, we made it all the way down the trail. It was a great experience.
yeah. So you can all go check out that video. Diana Kellison just had a question. What school do you teach at, Linden?
I teach at Spate Elementary. Do you
Spade
work around
Elementary.
here, Diana? David Link.
Yeah. Well, keep those
That's
comments coming. We'll try to get to
yeah.
we're going to get to the question and answer period pretty quick here, but I wanted to first pitch a couple of different events coming up. Not just because I want to promote them, but because if you're not a real familiar with the Flint Hills Trail, or if you don't have a lot of experience out there, to me the best way to experience it the first time is in a group. Because you can have a lot of support, you can have a lot of fun for sure, and you're going to make a lot of friends and learn a lot. So these are all good events for you to come out to. The first is, of course, Moonrise Bike Ride, which is our big music, food, and bike festival. It's September 5th, 6th, and 7th. We have a 2-night and a 1-night event. The 2-night event has been sold out for a while, but the 1-night event is still available. And that's a great time. We'll have about 300 people out there. It's focused on cycling, of course, but one of the major highlights is the food and the bluegrass music that we have, and also the friends that you'll make. People come back year after year, and it's so exciting to see so many people out there. One of the things I'm most proud of on that event is it's every year we get about 51% women, 49% men, which I don't know of any other cycling event that attracts such a even crowd, so pretty proud of that. So if you want to sign up for that, please do. Another event, the next one is Pack Palooza, and this is an overnight bikepacking event that's put on by our friends at Base Camp Flint Hills, and we'll share out more information about that. But it's a great one night overnight bikepacking event. The next one is Bikes, Barbecue, and John Brown, which is in Osawatomie. It's hosted by our friends out at Mile Zero. They do a fantastic job. We'll talk probably a little bit more about Mile Zero, but the event that they do out there is a really great time, and that is October 11th. And Lyndon, you're doing that one, right? Is that right?
Yes, yep. I'll be at the John Brown ride. Sorry, I was
Okay.
reading comments. Yeah, I'll be at the John Brown ride,
Yeah, if
and
you see
I
any
really,
comments you want to jump in on, go ahead.
uh, yeah. But the Moonrise ride, my brother and I, we went out in 2022, and that's another kind of experience we've been trying to get back together and do again. It was awesome. It was really the most fun I've ever had on a bike. It wasn't
Yeah.
the easiest riding because of my activities at night, but it was it was a blast. We had
Yeah.
an amazing time. The bands were great. The food was amazing, and I've made friends. We rode that one time together. We still talk online and stuff. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah, that's
amazing.
really when we got to know each other, and then we've done a bunch of rides or a couple of rides since then. The
Yeah.
last one is the Bad Astra. That's our race. That's September 27th. That's a traditional gravel race, although this year it does, I think, have some trail impact as well. So if you're more of a racer type, that'd be a good one to check out. So those are the three events or four events that I just want to mention. Lyndon, did I miss any, or do you have any other events you want to talk about? No.
No, you got it. The John Brown ride's an amazing ride too. I like that 45-mile option. Not big on out and backs. So that really
Yeah.
is it's nice. You get dropped off and you ride 45 miles. Check
Yeah.
out two of the coolest trails in Kansas.
Yeah. Always a lot of fun, and there's barbecue involved, which is always a good thing. So the next thing before we get into the question and answer stuff, there are a couple of resources that we wanted to bring your attention to if you're not familiar. One of them is our website. So our Ottawa Bike and Trail website has a Flint Hills Trail guide, and I just recently went out and updated that, added a lot of things. That's probably one of the better resources out there that has detailed maps along with um, a lot of information we're going to talk about tonight, where there's water, where there's lodging, where the trailheads are, and all of that. So check out our website, ottawabikeandtrail.com. Uh, One of the tabs just says events and routes. I think you can look the Flint Hills Trail Guide up. It's a pretty good resource. But also the Kanza Rails Trails Conservancy website is incredible. There's a lot of great detail out there. Of course, the organization's incredible. There wouldn't be a Flint Hills Trail if it wasn't for the Kanza Rails Trails Conservancy and their hard work. So if you can support them, definitely do so. And then the last one's the Department of Wildlife and Parks. They are really responsible for the trails. They're responsible for maintaining the trails. They're both state parks, and they have a very small staff, but they do an incredible job in keeping the trails together and safe. And just can't say enough for the hard work that those folks do. Any other resources, Lyndon, that you rely on when you ride the trails?
Well, yeah, I started a group because when I first
Oh
started, I
yeah,
used
still pulling that out.
some groups on the Katy Trail to organize my ride on the Katy Trail. So I kind of try to start. I started something to try to kind of build the same kind of information base for people, and it's a long name, Flint Hills Trail, Prairie Spirit Trail Adventures, share plan promo. But if you just look up Flint Hills Trail, you'll find it on Facebook. Uh,
Yeah, that's a
and
great community as well as a resource.
yeah,
So if you have a question, jump on there. There's somebody that has the answer.
yeah, like there's a lot of heavy hitters like you out there or Jeff Dorsett,
Yeah.
people who had a lot to do with the development of the trail. Follow this page and they'll answer questions when they see them. And I'm on there and I'll answer as quickly as I can. So yeah, it's really turning out really well. I'm excited. We're almost up to 400 people on there, so pretty pumped.
Yes. All right. You guys ready for some questions and answers? We have some prepared questions that we're just going to start talking about. But if you guys jump in with questions in the chat, we will throw those up and talk about those as well. But Lyndon, give people an overview about the trail, how long it is, and just kind of a high level overview, and then I'll jump in and throw in some facts as well.
All right. Well, the Flint Hills Trail currently is it 90
I say
something miles?
92. I say 92.
92. Yeah, 92 have been developed, and then it's in the plan to finish from Council Grove to Herington. So that part of the trail, that's a question that comes up a lot. It's not finished yet. And I've read it's not open to the public yet.
It's
So
definitely not open to, yeah, and that's a common question because it is part of the Flint Hills Trail State Park. So all of that rail bank has been preserved as part of the Flint Hills Trail State Park. So technically it's part of the park. It's just not usable. It's just not open because of they just haven't developed that part of the trail. But it's in the plan. So the raise grant that and I don't have all the details on the raise grant in front of me, but it was a very large federal grant that is allocated to trail. One of the projects related to that was um, the bridge project to west of Ottawa that was just completed. So that was all part of that same grant, and that is um, part of the rest of that grant, assuming it all stays funded, will be used to finish the trail out to Herington. So that's a big part of that. And I think also that grant was part of some of the other improvements that are going on now. There's a section between Vassar and Llewellyn Road, which is just west of 75 Highway. The improvements that they're making there is also part of that. So, but that whole
yep.
92 that's currently rideable, I mean, it's all rideable, right?
Yeah, it's like, to me it's like the Katy Trail. It reminds me of the Katy Trail, especially once they get done with that section from Vassar on. It's going to be really comparable to the Katy Trail as far as the surface goes and
Yeah,
as the ride goes. Yeah.
yeah. And I get calls all the time. I think part of the challenge with the Flint Hills Trail is that um, it developed slowly over time, right? So a lot of the information that's out there about rough conditions on the trail or sections that are difficult, that really doesn't exist anymore. So a lot of times, people are looking at an article from 10 years ago and thinking they're going to have to, ride through brush or something, and it's just not the case. It's definitely fully developed. And having said that, there are obstacles, right? A little bit. Let's talk a little bit about that. Like the surface. Every once in a while, you'll find a little pothole, right? Or you'll find a
Yeah.
long pothole. It's a trail. It's not a paved road. It's a trail, and we've seen a little bit of that talk on Facebook and other places about people disappointed with the condition at any given point in time. And part of that's the weather can bring branches down, can cause damage, but the most of that stuff gets cleaned up pretty quick, don't you think? In your experience, have you really seen issues with that?
No. I actually, last time Dad and I rode it, there was a flood. The trail, a huge amount of rain came down and flooded a section of the trail. I wish I could remember it's one of the new trailheads with the bathroom, but it was,
Hmm.
and the next day it was already being improved. So, I
Yeah.
mean, it is crazy how fast. I mean, it really reminds me of the Katy a lot, how fast they get to things. I even on trails like the Katy Trail, I know I keep comparing it to the Katy, but the Katy is the longest. It's really well maintained, and it reminds me a lot of the Katy now. I mean, the you find a hole here and there on the Katy, you'll find a little gap. It's a trail, not a road. but
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
a really nice trail.
Well, and David Link just threw a question out there. Thank you, David. Does the new bridge across the tracks west of Ottawa have a name? It should. We should
Yeah.
name what? Who should we name it after? Oh, that's a good question. Who should we name it
Oh,
after?
there's a few people out there.
Oh yeah. I could pick out a few people that were part of the original Kanza Rails Trails team that made this thing happen. So we might talk to those folks and see if they would want to come up with a name. That's a good idea.
Yeah,
But
that'd be
let's talk
cool.
about, so that's, I think related to that is what kind of bike do you need? So, you know, my theory is that if someone comes out, they don't have a good experience on the trail, sometimes it's because maybe they've ridden a road bike or they have bike tires that aren't really compatible with the trail. What are your thoughts on that, Lyndon?
Yeah, I like to do all road. I ride an all road bike. I like to be able to go wherever I can go. So my bike is over biked for the trail. I have 2.25-inch tires, and that's plenty of tire.
Hmm.
I use those Vittoria Mezcals. You can go anywhere with those.
Yeah.
Uh, and So yeah, when we did the Moonlight ride in 2022, I saw some tough older guys in their 70s, 80s riding
Yeah.
road bikes though. I mean, they rode road bikes and they were
Yeah.
like mocking me for my flat on the side of the trail. No, they helped me out. They helped me
Yeah.
out. But
You
yeah, so
can
you
do it
can
on a
ride it on
road
a road
bike.
bike.
Yeah. The wider the tires, the better. To me, I say 35 to 38 millimeters is probably uh, the minimum. The challenge isn't that you're going to necessarily get a flat. It's just the surface is soft enough that if you're riding on a really, really thin tire, you tend to kind of dig in a little bit more and you're not going to feel as stable as you will if you have a little bit fatter tire. So I think just,
Yeah.
but at the same time, if that's what you ride what you have, right? So um, there's parts of the trail that are almost like pavement. So you can get out there on any bike really and have a good time.
Yeah, especially when you're looking at the east and west ends, and once they're finished with this last little section, it should be pretty easy all the way through it with
Yeah.
almost anything. But yeah, a gravel bike size tire would be ideal, I imagine.
Yeah. And do you run tubeless or you tubes?
No, I use tubes. It's from a weird superstition kind of from my first adventure, but I
How
put
many
sealant
how
in
many
my
flats have
tubes.
you had out there though?
Well, ever since I put sealant in, zero.
Okay.
Zero.
Yeah.
Before sealant, I had some flats on but I had flats the entire thing. So I'm not sure if it was the trail or yeah, I broke down. I had over 8 flats on that
In one
first
in one
adventure.
ride?
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
stranded in the country and stuff. Had to get rescued. It made an adventure, that's for sure.
Yeah, you probably had a stubborn sticker that maybe was repuncturing your tire, yeah.
Yeah,
But that's where
I carry a
sealant
little
can make a
cotton now
difference.
so I can feel it. A little
Feel it, yeah.
cotton, see if it'll snag it. Yeah, but yeah.
But putting sealant in the tubes, we weren't a fan of that at first, but we've kind of come around on that. Putting sealant inside of a tube is actually a pretty good way to go.
I'm not against tubeless. I will go tubeless someday. It's just I did it and it worked and I just haven't changed since it keeps
Yeah.
working. I just keep
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah, I ride tubeless, and honestly, I don't really worry about flats. I haven't had a flat in years, and other than just the initial getting your tires to seal properly, and of course, I just said that, but I might get 10 the next time I go out to ride, right? But yeah, I think either one is fine. I would say learn how to change a flat. In either case, is if you're going to be out there. I mean, there's some pretty remote places on the trail, or at least places where you're not anywhere near civilization. So being able to take care of yourself and fix a flat if you get one, it's not the end of the world. It just takes a few minutes. So if you can maybe watch a few YouTube videos or come into the shop, we can show you how to do it. It's pretty easy.
If you're out there and you get stranded, you'll learn if you have the materials. You'll figure.
That's definitely one way to learn. Um,
These days you have YouTube too. So I've sat out in the middle of nowhere and YouTubed how to fix a part on my bike before. And
yeah.
yeah,
All right. Well, I'm going to say hi to Philly Zone out there watching this all the way from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
yeah,
Um,
that's cool.
one of the things that I'm um, just makes my life happy is when I see people come from all over the country to ride the Flint Hills Trail. I mean, It's happening more and more. This summer, for some reason, I guess there's a trend out there to go across the country and try to ride in every state. And we must have had 10 people this summer of people that were in the process of doing that, and they stop in Ottawa and ride the Flint Hills Trail for 20 miles or something just to check off Kansas as a state. So it's kind of cool. But we get people from all over. Of course, we do rent bikes, so a lot of folks, we're trying to develop it as a kind of a group thing. Come down, rent bikes, go out as a group, and we're seeing a lot of people take advantage of that as well.
That's awesome.
Hey, there's two people from Philly, so there we go. Oh, I'm just learning how to do this. So,
Hey, you guys should get
oh, if
together
they
and
come
come
to
down.
Canada, so there's the other. Yeah. So my phone rings about twice a day of people wanting something, and I listen for accents, and I have to explain to them that we're in Ottawa, Kansas, not Canada. So that's just a part of my life. And when I opened the shop and picked out a name, I had no idea that that was going to be was going to happen. All right, so let's you guys, if you have questions out there, we're trying to watch them and jump in and answer any questions. But I'm going to throw another one out here to Linden. Um, what do you think is the most scenic part of the trail for you?
I know a lot of my favorite people are out there on the East End, and I love the East End. The East End reminds me of like a miniature Katy, like it's the Katy, but the trees are a little smaller, the river's a little smaller,
Hmm.
everything. But it's beautiful out there, and the trail's really well developed. But my favorite, I've always been fascinated with the Flint Hills ever since I was a child. Right, driving down the highway, just staring out there into the rolling Flint Hills. So once I found Council Grove to Bushong, that section on the west end. I fell in love, and that's
Yeah.
all I needed. And that first adventure was so cool because I rode from those rolling hills into Osawatomie, where the trees get a little bigger, and then into Missouri, where you're rolling along giant trees along river bluffs. And
Yeah.
so it was a cool scenery change from the rolling Flint Hills into the big trees. But yeah, I
Yeah.
love that West End. I'll go out there just for a weekend and stay at base camp Flint Hills in Allen, and
Yeah.
and ride, come back, sit by the fire, drink some beers, and head home if I need to get away for a weekend. I mean, that's a nice weekend adventure right there.
Yeah. Absolutely. I agree. I think, one of the things I love about the Flint Hills though is that you get it's almost a view of Kansas, right? Because you got the eastern end that's wooded a little bit, feels hilly, even though the trail's flat, but you're surrounded by hills. Then you go into the middle section, which is you got Ottawa with the historic downtown. You got Osage City, which is kind of neat. You got the lake in there, and then the western end with all of the Flint Hills. So the diversity of the trail from end to end is one of the things that really draws me to it. And
Yeah,
different times a year, um, is the other thing. It just changes, especially that western end, the Flint Hills. Well, it all does, but the western end, the Flint Hills, if you're there in the fall, it's completely different than in the summer or the spring. It's just, so much to see, and I really never get tired of riding out there.
this year I got lucky and came out right during the burn and after the burn of some of those sections. And if you want to check out the video of it, Linden
Hmm.
Moore on YouTube, it was like a third landscape. I'd seen the fall, I'd seen the summer, and then now I got to see this alien like burnt landscape. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I will say on the eastern end, the bird watching is really good.
Hmm.
I've seen some pileated woodpeckers out there, which I'd never seen before. I've seen eagles out there on more than one occasion. Bobcats. There actually one of my good friends saw a mountain lion just west of Ottawa, um, in the wooded section that's out near the new bridge. So that's didn't get a photo of it. I wish, but yeah. So there's a lot of wildlife on all of the trail to see. So there's always something interesting, I think.
That's true. I love the East End too, but
Yeah.
as just my fascination with the Flint Hills, the rolling Flint Hills, treeless, just miles and miles. You can see for miles. It's crazy. It's really amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Really amazing.
you just brought up Base Camp Flint Hills. Let's talk a little bit about camping on the Flint Hills. You if you're familiar with us, you've heard about Base Camp Flint Hills probably if you've watched my videos. But that's just a beautiful spot right in the Flint Hills, and they're on Hip Camp. So if you do want to stay out there, you can get on Hip Camp, find out about that. If people enjoy this conversation, I'll probably jump on with my friends that run Hip Camp because they've got some really interesting stories about some of the things that they're doing out there. But they do events out there. They have, during Unbound weekend, that place is packed. Um, During Symphony on the Flint Hills, they were packed again. They really draw a lot, and they've done a lot to draw attention to that part of the trail. So it's pretty exciting. But
Yeah,
where else have you
I
camped out there, Lyndon?
Pomona State Park. I've done a few times. Stayed
Yeah.
out there. I think that's how you say it. And I like that. I like that park. And I even one time I had planned to stay in Pomona, but it was pouring rain and my dry bag had failed and my tent was soaked. My tent was completely soaked. So I stayed up the hill at Lamont Hill. So that's a kind of a nice option if you get there.
Yeah.
And the thing, and it was $55 for the room, and it
Yeah.
was clean. And they gave me towels, and they have good food out there. But yeah, I love Pomona State Park. I haven't stayed at Lake Georgia Sioux though yet. Have you stayed there?
Yeah, we stayed there we had an event out there, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful spot. They're kind of on and off on what they're going to do with that, if they're going to continue to provide camping out there, but it's a good day stop. They do have things out there you can roll in, and um, they just recently posted something that you can get popsicles out there in the summer. So they're trying to figure out the best way to use that. But that's definitely an option if you're near Ottawa. There's not a lot of great camping, unfortunately. You can stay at the Franklin County Visitor Center, but it's primitive. There's no services there. So one of my goals and hopes is that we can get some sort of camping spot close to town. But that's one of the gaps. You can. So let's start on the west end. Osawatomie, there is camping there at John Brown State Park. I think there's a few steps you have to go through to get to reserve a spot. But there's that. There's you know the Pomona. We mentioned Pomona Lake State Park. I have also heard that people are able to camp in Osage City they contact the police department, and sometimes they'll let people camp in their grassy area. So that's one option if you're in Osage City. Other than that, there's not. Well, and then in Council Grove, there's the Council Grove City Lake there or the lake right outside Council Grove that you can camp at. They have a bunch of campgrounds there. So those are most of the most popular camping spots. I don't
If
know.
you if you plan it out though, if you go base camp Flint to base camp Flint Hills from Council Grove, that's like I don't know 20 30
20.
miles. Yeah, then you go on to Pomona, that's just another 20 30 miles there.
Yep.
And then you could go Lake Georgia Sioux, and
Hmm.
that's a little shorter,
That's
probably
pretty short.
50,
Yeah, that's like
yeah,
15 maybe.
15. And then your last day you could finish up 30 miles and hit Osawatomie or something like that. And you wouldn't have to do too long a days, but if you can ride 45 55 miles, you can do the trail and camp easy. And the camping at is that John Brown State Mile Zero
Yeah, you can camp.
has camping?
Yeah, yeah. It's in town at the state at John Brown Park there.
Okay.
I think and I may be a little dated on this, but I think you have to contact the city or the police department to get a permit. But so someone said, Brian Anderson said, don't forget the Flint Hills Trail from Ottawa to Council Grove. One day Harrington is the official route of the American Discovery Trail.
Huh.
I did not know that, honestly.
I should have known that too. That's a cool thing.
Learn something new. I think I knew that, but it's just, yeah, I haven't thought
I
about
wonder
that
what
far.
they do from there. Break off and head down the prairie. Hmm. I wonder where they go from there.
All right, look, Diana Kellison says, looking forward to the Council Grove to Allen section at some point. Had planned to do it early this summer, but had a change of plans. Well, plenty of time left in the summer to get out and do it.
Or go do the moonrise ride in September.
Yeah, someone said, David Link said, don't forget Lake Georgia Sioux. Yeah, absolutely. If you're out near Ottawa, a good day trip or just short trip would be start in Ottawa, ride west, go over the beautiful bridge right outside of town, over the Maurice de Seine. I said that wrong, I'm sure. I got to work on that. But then you go over the new railroad bridge and then cross 68 highway, and there's Lake Georgia Sioux. Do a little loop around that and ride back. Probably a um, around 15-mile round trip.
Yeah, or you
Um,
can go
Go
one
ahead.
day to Harrington.
Yeah,
Ottawa Council Grove, and then one day Harrington is. Oh, so they go
yeah.
down south from there. Okay, okay. Yeah, it is e-bikeable too, Rick. My dad and I rode it all on e-bikes, or he rode it on an e-bike, and we
That's one of the
stayed at.
questions. Yeah, that's one of the common
Yeah,
questions is can you ride e-bikes on the trail? And the answer is yes. The official rules are based on class, but class of bike. But the rule, I always summarize the rules just to make it simple. It has to be pedal assist, so you can't be riding around with the throttle. And there's a 20-mile-per-hour speed limit. So if your bike does more than 20, technically you're not supposed to ride it. But most bikes nowadays you can adjust the speed limits on it. So just stay under 20, and most importantly, obey the rules. Be courteous to people on the trail, and you'll be fine. But e-bikes are encouraged. Actually, I think for us, the Flint Hills Trail is fairly remote. There's 10 miles between most towns, and some of the towns there's not much there. So in terms of accommodations, resources when you're there. So those distances are pretty long. So for people that want to get out and enjoy the trail, jump on an e-bike. You can cover more distance and enjoy it. So you might just be able to do 10 miles, but if you jump on an e-bike, you can probably do more. So yeah, I think it's a really good way to enjoy the trail.
it's changed the game for me and my dad because I used to do a lot of standing around, and he's older. I mean, it's understandable. And he now that he's on the e-bike, he can ride way further faster than I can. I'm keeping up with him most of the time.
Yeah.
If we have a strong wind, I'll get behind him, and draft. And but
Does he ever let you
he,
ride the e-bike and he'd take on the,
no,
like, do you swap
no, that
like that?
doesn't
No.
happen.
Okay.
No, he's a
Yeah.
little smaller than me too. My knees
Yeah.
would probably be going up to my chest if I rode his bike.
Yeah.
But it's really been a game changer. And we rode the Flint Hills Trail, and all we had to do, his bike had at the time 50 mile range.
Yeah.
One day we had to charge while we were in Ottawa before we continued on to Osawatomie, and so we were able to do the whole trail while we were eating at your barbecue place. I can't remember the name, but
Smoked Creations.
yeah, we went to Smoke Creations and we asked them if we could plug in. They helped us find a spot and everything. It was great.
That's
So
good.
you
Yeah.
guys were closed that day, or we would have harassed you and tried to plug in some more.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Somebody asked, Duff B asked, I know Auto Bike and Trail does shuttles, which is true. I'll talk a little bit about that. Is there anyone else? And the answer is I don't think so. In fact, it's harder and harder for us to do shuttles. We do try to if we can, um, but it's tough because we're a small shop, and as we get busier, it's harder for us to break away and do shuttles. So we've kind of slowed down a little bit on that.
Man,
Um,
if
but
I were retired out there, someone that's a side hustle right there.
yeah,
Get a
yeah, if
bike
somebody,
rack.
yeah.
Oh, I wish, please, someone.
Yeah, there might be an opportunity there. I just, but we do if usually in the in the spring or the fall, if we're not too busy, and especially if it's during the week, if somebody needs a ride, we can take up to 10 people. We do. There are groups that come out. It's usually more affordable if you can do 4 people or more. And we will take you out and drop you off, so you don't have to do an out and back trip. So that's something we try to offer if we can. It's just harder and harder to find the time and be able to accommodate as many people that want to do it. So there's probably a business opportunity for something or for somebody
Yes.
to take that on. And yeah,
If my
so if you're
wife weren't
interested,
in
let me know.
school right now, if my wife weren't in school, I'd be fighting her to move out there for it.
Well, I might make a bike mechanic out of you if you move to Ottawa. So yeah,
Give me a
if
few
the
years.
if the science game and teaching ever is a problem, you let me know.
I will. I would
So
love it.
we talked a little bit about camping. Let me pull the questions back up and see if we got any places to charge. Yeah, so that's a good question. I don't think any of the bathrooms, there are bathrooms in a lot of the towns along the way that the state park is starting to put in. Some of those have water. We'll talk about that real quick. But as far as places to charge, you just kind of have to get creative. Most of the businesses in most of these towns, coffee shops, things like that. So in Osawatomie, in Ottawa, in even at Pomona Lake State Park, there's places to charge there. Osage City, there's businesses that will let you charge, and then Council Grove likewise. So as long as you're in one of those bigger towns, you can usually find somewhere to charge. But you kind of have to be strategic about it. Some of the smaller towns are just no opportunities. But
The
let's
meat
talk.
market in Allen, the meat
Yeah,
market in Allen maybe might let you.
yeah, they might let you do that. If you stay at Base Camp Flint Hills, they have charging there, but it's only available if you're staying over. So, but one of the things we didn't talk about was bathrooms. Let's talk about that real quick. Um, of course, the big towns that I just talked about, there's Casey's, there's convenience stores, and if you look at the Flint Hills Trail map that we put together, the field guide, we've identified the most common businesses that you can stop in, and they all have bathrooms. But some of the trailheads now are starting to have bathrooms, and I got the list here. Um,
Man, I was excited when those came in.
yeah, they put pit toilets in. Bashong, Admire, Miller, all three now have bathrooms. And then there's another one at Pomona at the trailhead. Pomona, the town of Pomona, not to be confused with Pomona Lake State Park, but those all have bathrooms. Three of the four have water also. So Bashong, Admire, and Miller all have water fountains. And that's a section of the trail that traditionally did not have water. So those three really fill in a big gap there. So as long as you can get to one of those towns, you can get water. Obviously, with the big towns, and so those are there's really not a big section now that water isn't available.
That's
Um,
cool.
yeah, and then
I used to
Allen, the
carry
meat market you
gallons
mentioned in Allen. I mean, if you're in a pinch, you can stop in there and get water if they're open.
or beer.
Yeah, or beer. Yeah. I would say on the other end of the trail between Ottawa and Osawatomie, it's tough to get water in that section also. There's a little town called Rantoul there but there used to be a soda machine there. I don't know if it's still there, but other than walking up to somebody there and asking them to use their hose or something, there's not many options. So if you're going to ride that 20-mile section, just bring enough water. I always just pack 2 bottles on my bike, and I've rarely had a situation where you do 4. Yeah, if you're
Yeah,
riding a loaded bike, you
yeah.
probably would want to have more water. But just think about where you're going to ride and plan for that. If it's hot like today, you're going to need 4.
Mhm.
So you just gotta be careful and plan and make sure you have a keep those bottles full and take advantage of the water when you are there. I wanted to mention one thing too. I learned is that in Osage City, which is one of the bigger towns on the trail, but also not a huge town. The way the new trail goes through town, it stops at the Santa Fe Depot, and there's a little park next to that. That park now has bathrooms open, and it also has a water bottle filling station, so you
Mm.
can go in and fill your bottle up there. So uh, it's probably been there for a while, but I didn't realize it until the last event we did out there. We rode out there, and I was just so impressed with that little park, and also with just the downtown area in Osage City. There's a lot of cool stuff going on there, so go check that out if you want to see something cool.
It's my
I was
favorite,
impressed,
Casey's.
and they have
I
nice
gotta
Casey's.
stop
Yeah,
at that.
Casey's is good
Yeah.
everywhere, right?
Airbnbs too. My dad and I stayed at 2 really nice Airbnbs there. So
Yeah. Yeah, let's
yeah.
talk about that now. Yeah, the Airbnb scene is just totally gotten improved, I guess you should say, along the trail. There's Airbnb options in Osawatomie,
Yeah.
Airbnb options in Ottawa, of course, Osage City, and then Council Grove. And some of these are pretty nice. I've stayed in a few. The one I've stayed in the one down on the main drag in Osage City, and it's really nice. I think there's 3
Yeah.
units up there.
Yeah. The other one we stayed at, it's the Koch's Guest House. That's what it is. Koch's, like the Koch. But
Yeah,
they that's an amazing spot. It's kind of
yeah,
isolated. It's really close to the trail, and the people are super nice. Best coffee on the trail, right there. Best coffee on the trail.
yeah. Um, and then there's a couple in Council Grove that I have not stayed at, but they look really, really nice. I'm gonna try to plan a trip down there and stay overnight and see what that's all about. But I added a lot of those Airbnbs to my field guide. So if you're out in the checking out the field guide on our website, they're mostly there. But if you have one that I missed, or if there's a place that you like to stay that's not listed, let me know and I'll add it. I got a question here from Matt Garrett. Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, Matt mentioned that he hosted. There was an event in Manhattan with conservation people, big event, and we went out and brought 10 bikes with us and rented them to that group to ride on the Flint Hills Trail, and it was a really, really cool day. They did a section between Base Camp Flint Hills and rode into Council Grove, and then we picked them up there. And yeah, so that's another thing that we do. We can organize events for you. We have a lot of e-bikes to rent. I'm doing a group of about 8 people this coming weekend. We're renting e-bikes for them. So yeah, if you do want to come out and experience the trail, that'd be get a group of people together, even if they're not experienced cyclists, and we can help organize something for you.
Yeah. This
Some
year
yeah,
on the
go ahead.
Katy, I saw people of all ages on e-bikes and all abilities too, riding the entire Katy. So you guys can do it. Get out there.
Yeah. When are the bathrooms and water shut off for the season? I don't have exact dates, but I can tell you they will shut them off. So when it starts to get cold, they're gonna shut down the bathrooms and the water, at least the water. Um, I
Well,
think the bathrooms are mostly accessible most of the year, but
yeah, they're pit toilets, so I think they're good. But they usually announce that on the Department of Wildlife and Parks, Kansas, when
yeah.
they shut stuff down. So that's where you can find detours too.
Okay, he's talking about the trail that we talked about earlier. Yeah, it follows. I need to do a little more research on that. I need to probably be able to talk about that. Somebody
I
asked,
could
is there
bring
a
some
shop?
people.
Do they rent e-bikes? Is there a shop in Council Grove or Osawatomie that rents e-bikes? I don't think so, but we can probably help you out. You just have to drive to Ottawa, yeah. So let's go through any other questions out there. We're getting close to time. I did want to wrap this up at 8. We got about 15 minutes left, so there's plenty of time for questions. But if you do have other questions, throw them out there. Uh, Linden, what's your favorite food along the trail?
Ooh, that's a good question. I always end up bringing a bunch of dehydrated bikepacking meals and then not eating any of them. Maybe one, because once I get out there, I just want the local. I want to find food, go to Casey's. I like Casey's food on the trail. It's not good for me, but I eat a lot of it. Uh, you started using tortillas a lot too. Tortillas and peanut butter. A lot of
Okay.
calories. Packs flat. Can't smash them too much. If you put a little wax paper in between them, if it doesn't, yeah, you can do whatever you want to them, and they will be just fine.
Yeah.
So peanut butter and tortillas have been good. Yeah, I just really like to eat everything along the trail.
What about
I like.
restaurants along the trail? What are you mentioned
We went.
smoked creations, but what
Yeah, I
else?
love smoke creations. We went to Marion's or something. It's in Osage
Yeah.
City.
I haven't been there, but I've
Yeah,
heard it's good. Yeah.
yeah, it's one of those nice little local spots you get to go
Diner
that you don't
type.
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little diner you're not going to find anywhere else. And
Yeah.
the owner, I think she was there and she came out and talked to us. She was excited. I was covered in sweat that day. I remember that. And she kept rubbing my back, and yeah, she was very excited to see us.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, it was really fun. What else? Other
Hey,
food places.
and
Go
breweries
ahead.
count, right? So we got
Oh
to
yeah,
mention the breweries, right? So
for
the
sure.
Riverbank Brewing Company in Council Grove. one of the great places, not only for the beer and they have great food, and there's also a really good food truck that's usually parked out back that has really good Mexican food. But that patio they have is mm,
Yeah.
right along the river, and you get a good view of the trail. We start Moonrise Bike Ride, the 2 night event. One of my favorite parts of that is that we start there around noon for check in, and we hang out till about 4. And just sitting out on that deck out there is just fantastic. So if you get a chance to ride, maybe stay at base camp, ride in to Council Grove, spend a couple hours hanging out at that place, and then ride back. That would be a good afternoon or day. Also, the Hayes House in Council Grove is great. There's pretty
Yeah.
historic places there in Council Grove. So there's a lot of good places there.
That's where we ate
And
at the
then,
end of our journey. It was delicious. Good heavy food.
yeah. And then I got to mention our friends at Not Lost Brewing Company in Ottawa. Also a great place to start or end a ride. Our Thursday night ride, we always end up there. So can't beat that place. I'm sure there's other good places. There's a good Mexican restaurant that I like. I forget the name of it. I should know that, but it's in Osage City. So yeah, a lot of great
You
places. So
you guys have a
plan that
Mexican
into your
place
trip.
I've eaten too in Ottawa. A Mexican place in Ottawa. I've eaten. That
We
was
have
pretty
quite a
good.
few actually. We got like 4 or
Yeah.
5. So and they're all good. So you can't go wrong there. And there's an Italian restaurant right across the street from our shop that just opened up about a year, reopened. So that's a good option also.
And base camp posts that meal that's in Allen once a week or something
Yeah,
like
there's
that.
some things like that. That's one of the things that I hope continues, or I hope we improve on, is getting people aware of what kinds of events are going on along the trail so that we can use those as ways to promote the trail as well. There's always something going on in Osawatomie. There's several events that they do in Ottawa, and so that's another great time to get out and enjoy the trail and stop at some of those places. One of the other questions is about parking. Um, you know, Generally parking at any of the trailheads is acceptable. At least for me, I always recommend people start in Osawatomie, Ottawa, Osage City, or Council Grove if you're going to park overnight. Um, just because parking your you'd probably be fine parking at one of the trailheads overnight, but you're better off parking and all of those cities have public parking areas that are usually available. For us, for example, right behind our shop in Legacy Square, you can park overnight, and that's where we recommend in Ottawa. I think in at mile zero in in Osawatomie, they have a nice big parking lot, and I think people can park there overnight. And likewise in Council Grove, there are public parking areas there. We've never had a problem somebody parking there. There's a library just up the road that you can park at as well, so you can usually find a place to park. It's not usually a problem.
Yeah, your guide has the best parking recommendations in there too. We've
Yeah,
used those, no problems.
yeah,
I've parked at the Council Grove trailhead and left it overnight and not had any problems.
yeah.
I don't know if you're supposed to, but I have.
Don't leave anything valuable. Just be smart. I've never heard of a car being damaged in any way or anybody getting towed or anything like that. Um, oh, somebody mentioned Saddle Rock Cafe in Council Grove. Good recommendation. I haven't actually had a chance to eat there, so I'm going to try that next time I'm in Council Grove.
Yes, Rick,
Um,
fettuccine and bike at the end of a bike tour, Rick.
yeah, Rick says nothing like fettuccine alfredo. Exactly. All right. All right. So we have about 7 minutes left, and I'm going to throw out a question, Lyndon, that I'm interested to hear from you. What was your best day on your bike ever?
All right. Well, being long-winded, I got to tell you too. One would be the first day of the Moonrise ride with my dad and brother. That was probably the most fun I've had on a bike. Like, and with everyone else too, meeting all the people. You meet so
Yeah.
many cool people.
Yeah.
Especially, I love that 2 day option and the way we did it. That's another business someone could start on the during that ride. Someone get a bus and put it in Osawa or and put it at Ottawa, and then when people finish the ride, you take them back to Council Grove. There's a little
Yeah.
But
We might
but
do that
yes,
next year. We're trying to figure that out. We take 10 people back in our van, but we kind of converted that ride to a one way, and now we're trying to figure out how to grow it. So we'll see.
yeah,
Maybe next year we'll figure out how to get a bus. But yeah. But go ahead.
that would be cool.
What's your
But that's
second one?
my favorite. We had a blast. We met new people I still talk to now. I mean, I did the John Brown ride. Went to Ottawa last year and ran into someone I met on the trail. Uh, and we hung out and had some beers at Not Lost Brewing. So
Yeah.
during the Moonrise ride. Then second would be my first adventure. I'd been stranded, saved by farmers, brought to a hotel, broken spokes, eight flats. A million things have gone wrong. And the Katy Trail had flooded on a section. A large section of the trail was flooded. And I just kind of had this feeling like if I just I'd ridden away from the trail to get out of the flooding, and I went to Columbia up the MKT, which was closed in the middle of the night. And once I get to Columbia, I spent the night, and then I rode. I just had this idea, like if I keep going downhill, I've got to meet the river somewhere. And I just kept riding downhill until finally I popped. I saw the Katy just through a little flooded section, and yeah, I found the Katy again just randomly. And from there on, the trail was good to go. So
Okay.
refinding the Katy, just that experience of not giving up, and
Yeah.
I had already planned. I already had someone coming to get me. He was getting in the truck, and I called him that morning. He was like, "Don't come. I'm going to figure this out. So that's
Yeah.
probably the best solo experience. But as a group, the Moonrise ride for sure. That was a blast.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm glad that makes me feel good that we gave you that experience or played a part in it. One thing I just thought of as you were talking about that, the connection from Osawatomie to the Rock Island. You just made up your own route, right? I mean, there's no
Yeah.
official route, but how was that? Was that complicated or difficult? I mean, you're riding on road, but
Yeah. No, it was good. The eat, I've done between, that was pretty good. My best, though, was between Clinton and Osawatomie. I rode that too. I
okay.
went west to east. Yeah. And that way I found a lot of gravel roads, a lot of off the path stuff. It was really cool. Really
How
cool.
how many
It,
miles was that?
it's like 70.
Okay.
I stopped in Lacine or Lacine.
Lacine, I think.
Uh, yeah, and then
Okay.
I called it Lasigna in my video. It's embarrassing. And
Yeah.
then I stopped in Paola, right outside of Osawatomie, and camped at the Miola Lake, I think, something like that. Yeah. So, yeah,
Yeah.
those two spots in between. There's actually a secret cabin out there. I think it's in Adrian. And if anyone knows where it is, let us
A
know. But
secret cabin that you can stay in, you mean?
yeah, and it's like right in the middle. And I think it's for people
Oh.
doing cross country rides
Okay.
because that route goes through that town.
Okay.
So I know there are some people out there who know. I don't know if they're on tonight, but yeah, there's a cabin out there. You just have to be able to contact the owner and they let you stay there. I haven't done it yet though. That'd be the perfect middle point though.
Yeah.
But yeah, it
That'd be
worked
kind
out
of cool.
well.
Maybe we should organize a ride and just do the connector.
I
That'd
think
be
it's
kind of interesting.
To me, I think if that connector was established, even unofficial, but with some kind of signage, I think the traffic that would come from the Katy people like me who want a little longer day when they
Yeah.
do a long ride or something, I think it would bring the traffic to. And then you're talking the rolling Flint Hills to the lush river valleys. I mean, that would be an amazing week long
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Man, there's a
it
lot we
needs to
could talk
happen.
about there for sure.
That's my retirement dream. If it's not done yet, I'm making that happen.
Yeah, to me, I think people are trying to or think somehow that some rail line is going to materialize between the two cities. It's not going to happen. I
No,
think having um, even signage just to mark the trail and say, hey, this is the official way to go, maybe some bike lanes in some of the areas and figure out a way to make it at least rideable
couple
and,
towns, couple
and
towns.
consistent so that people know. That's to me the big challenge. So,
Yeah.
one thing too we didn't mention there's probably a lot more we could talk about, but I don't want to run long today. We'll probably get back on if people really like this video. So if you want to see more of this kind of stuff, hit the like button on this video. That helps people find this channel, helps them find this video. Also, subscribe to our channel if you can. Let other people know about it. The YouTube algorithm is really weird like that, and just that's how people find us, and it really helps us as a shop, helps us keep doing what we're doing. So appreciate if you could do that. Um, so one other thing I wanted to ask you, Lyndon, and that is, what bike ride or dream ride do you have in your head that you'd like to do? Kind of your if you had one ride on a bucket list, what would it be right now?
Right now, I just want to hit some of these trails. I think it's not too out of my range either. It's a possibility. The Gap and CNO, I want to do that pretty bad. I know you talked about that last time I was doing the John Brown. They've
Yeah,
had some troubles lately with flooding,
yeah,
but that's definitely a trail. And then my dad's from Ohio, so I always thought the Ohio to Erie would be cool to do as
okay,
well. But these, I just like these. I like to ride. I like the hard parts. I like the in betweens on the roads, but these trails where you can zone out, it's
yeah,
meditative. I mean, I love riding
yeah.
these trails, so I want to
And
try to
just
hit
seeing
more
the
of these
small
trails.
towns. I mean, I've always been a small town fan, and some of these small towns you could pop into and that you just would never see otherwise. Is Yeah, that's appealing to me. Well, let's do the CNO Gap together. I'd love to.
Yeah,
It's a lot more
let's
fun
do
when
it.
you go, with people you like to hang out with. So maybe we could figure that
Let's
out.
do it. I
Yeah,
will.
I'm gonna have to figure out how to get somebody to manage the bike shop more so I can do rides like that. But for sure. You guys, any last minute questions for Lyndon or I before we get rolling here? I'm trying to scroll through and see if we missed any.
Yeah, thanks for coming out, people.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Great to see a lot of people we know and a lot of people we don't know.
If you want to see the trail, check out my videos. Linden Moore,
Yeah,
LindenMoore.
yes, absolutely. I'll put the link in the description of the video here once I get done. Also, get on his Facebook page. Read off your long-winded.
I have to change this. The same with all my names, like Linden. None of them are easy to find. Let me find it real quick. Sorry, I jumped off of it. Oh, I can hear that going through my headphones.
While you're doing that, we also have Ottawa Bike and
Sorry.
Trail Club. It's a group. Also, it's also a good resource. So people are looking for help on the trail or questions about the trail. You can jump on the Ottawa Bike and Trail Club Facebook group as well. And there's a lot of activity there. And there's a Mile Zero Facebook group. I'm sure I'm going to say it wrong, but just look up
And there,
Mile Zero Flint Hills Trail Facebook group. So there's a lot of great resources just there and people you can connect with, especially if you're going to ride from that area and you just want somebody to go out and ride with. Pop into those groups and tell people, hey, I'm going to be out riding. You want to join me? That's a great way to connect with
there's a count.
people.
Sorry, there's a Council Grove one too now. Council Grove
Yeah.
Cycling. They do some group rides out there
Yeah.
too.
That's right. Yeah.
So both ends of the trail. And then my group's name is Flint Hills Trail and Prairie Spirit Trail Adventures. Share, plan, and promo. But if you just look up Flint Hills Trail and Prairie Spirit Trail, you'll find it. But yeah, come out, and I will answer questions as quickly as I can, or try to find someone who can for you.
Yes. All right. Well, let's wrap this up. Thank you so much, Lennon, for joining. I think it was a
Hey,
fantastic discussion. I once again just love talking to you about this stuff. So we'll try to do it again if people want to hear more.
yeah,
And
thanks for
come
putting
out
it
and ride
together.
with us, folks. We're gonna still plenty of summer left, and this fall is just around the corner. It's gonna start cooling off, and the trails are gonna be the place to be. So come out and check it out.
Yeah, I'll be out there, and I know Ted Fatzer will be out there. We'll be riding that 45-mile option in October, the John Brown ride. Come out. I
Yeah,
might smuggle some beers out there.
absolutely. All right,
Hit
folks.
not lost afterwards. Maybe drive into
Yes,
Ottawa.
this was not sponsored by Not Lost Brewing Company, but
If they want to give me free beer ever, I'll take it.
yeah, actually, this video was sponsored by Ottawa Bike and Trail. So if you want to help us out, check out our website. We do sell bikes and a few other things on our website. So check that out. We'd love to have you. And of course, stop in and see us. And you know what? We like to be the information source for the Flint Hills Trail. So if you want to come to Ottawa and you have any questions, feel free to stop in and we will always give you some good advice, and it's also free advice. So I guess you get what you paid for. But yeah, so let's wrap it up. Lyndon, thank you so much. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank
Great
you,
time
Jeff, for
talking to you, and
organizing.
I can't wait to see you again. Stop and
Yeah.
see us, and we'll see you on the trail. All right,
All right. See
signing
ya.
off. Later, everyone.